Welcome back, explorers. Today we're heading deep into the heart of Idaho, a land that hides more secrets than anyone dares to imagine. Beneath its quiet deserts and rugged mountains lie frozen worlds, ancient artifacts, and landscapes that look like they belong to another planet. From a cave that defies nature itself, to a tiny mysterious figurine buried for thousands of years, to a vast field of black rock that feels almost alive. Every mystery here challenges what we think we know about the past. So sit back, turn up the volume, and let's explore the hidden side of Idaho. The Nampa Figurine, Idaho's impossible artifact. In the summer of 1889, on the outskirts of Nampa, Idaho, a group of men set out for what seemed like a routine day of drilling for water. The sun hovered low in the sky, casting long shadows across the dusty plains, and the rhythmic clank of their auger echoed like a heartbeat through the quiet landscape. The men joked, laughed, and wiped sweat from their brows, unaware that within a few feet of earth, they were about to uncover something that would challenge everything we thought we knew about history. They drilled deeper than ever before, more than 320 feet below the surface. That's nearly the height of a 30-story building. And then the drill struck something unusual. Not rock, not hardened clay, something that felt different, unnatural. The machinery groaned as it was pulled up, coated in wet dirt. And there, lodged in the debris, lay a tiny, human-shaped figurine. The workers laughed nervously. "Looks like a toy," one said. "Maybe some kid dropped it down here years ago." But the foreman's face turned pale when he considered the depth. 300 feet below the surface. That clay layer was ancient, far older than any human settlement ever recorded in the region. This was no mere toy. As the dirt was brushed away, the figurine revealed itself. It was barely an inch and a half tall, yet every detail was precise. The face had delicate features, eyes, nose, mouth, and faint markings suggested clothing. It was undeniably the work of human hands, yet it had come from a layer of clay that, according to geologists, was over 2 million years old. Word of the discovery spread like wildfire. Scientists, geologists, and curious travelers flocked to Nampa to see what quickly became known as the Nampa Figurine. Among them was Professor Albert A. Wright, a respected geologist who confirmed that the figurine had been found in solid, undisturbed clay. There was no evidence of fissures, cracks, or any way for the object to have been introduced after the clay hardened. The implications were staggering. In 1889, archaeology was still in its infancy. Could humans, or a human-like species, have existed millions of years ago, long before the appearance of Homo sapiens? The idea was almost unthinkable. Some dismissed it outright, labeling the figurine a hoax. Others theorized it had somehow fallen in through some hidden opening. But the geological evidence offered no explanation. The figurine was eventually placed in a museum in Boise, Idaho, where it remains today, encased behind glass. A tiny object, yet one that seems to mock everything we believe about human history. Years later, researchers would examine the Nampa figurine in detail. They discovered it was made of fired clay, a form of pottery. Its arms were slightly outstretched, the waist narrow, the head rounded with clear features. Whoever made it had artistic skill, crafting something delicate, beautiful, and unmistakably human. Yet pottery, according to mainstream archaeology, did not appear until tens of thousands of years ago. How could this figurine exist in clay over 2 million years old? Some skeptics suggested natural explanations. Perhaps water disturbed the layers, or volcanic activity shifted the clay. but the strata in Nampa are remarkably stable, compact, and untouched for eons. The figurine didn't belong there, and yet it was real. Over the decades, several theories have emerged. The first is the misplacement theory, claiming the figurine somehow slipped into the borehole. But geological studies found no cracks, no gaps, no signs of disturbance. The clay would have sealed instantly under pressure. Another theory suggests an ancient civilization, a species or culture that existed long before recorded history and was wiped out by cataclysmic events. Could this tiny figurine be the last remnant of a forgotten people? Then there is the more fantastical time anomaly theory. Some researchers propose that certain places on Earth are temporal hotspots, where time folds in on itself. Perhaps the figurine was transported forward or backward through the ages, arriving in a layer that should have been inaccessible to humans. While speculative, the bizarre geological history of Idaho, with volcanic eruptions, lava flows, and cataclysmic sediment shifts, gives this idea a strange plausibility. Adding to the mystery are the local legends and strange phenomena reported around Nampa. Miners and farmers from the 19th century recounted feeling subtle vibrations beneath the ground, hearing faint hums, or seeing mysterious pale lights along cracks in the earth. At the time, these stories were dismissed as superstition or tricks of exhaustion. Yet today, they raise unsettling questions. Could there be a connection between these phenomena and the figurine itself? The Nampa figurine forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. How much of human history have we truly uncovered? Textbooks are built on evidence, layers of rock, carbon dating, fossil records. But what happens when one piece refuses to fit? Do we ignore it, or do we investigate further? For decades, mainstream scientists avoided discussing the figurine. It was easier to dismiss an anomaly than to rewrite the story of humanity. But some independent researchers, undeterred, have revisited the site. In the 1960s, fragments of rock fused with glass, etched with tiny markings, were discovered nearby, seemingly artifacts of unknown origin. Before they could be fully analyzed, the fragments disappeared, leaving only tantalizing questions. Even the men who found the figurine were haunted by it. The foreman, G.F. Griggs, kept it with him for years. Near the end of his life, he confided to a journalist that after the discovery, his nights were never peaceful. He reported recurring dreams of a city buried beneath the desert, made of stone and light, where towering figures moved silently with glowing eyes. Each dream ended the same way, a hand rising from the clay, holding the same small figurine he had unearthed. Griggs would wake screaming, convinced that something under the ground remembers. Could the figurine be a message? A remnant left behind by a species that predated humanity? Or perhaps it's a warning, evidence of civilizations lost, forgotten, erased by time. Today, the Nampa figurine sits quietly in its glass case, deceptively small, yet infinitely enigmatic. Scientists continue to examine it, trying to prove or disprove its origins. But no one has found a definitive answer. The story of the Nampa figurine is not just about a small clay figure. It is about the limits of our understanding, the mysteries buried deep beneath the earth, and the unsettling possibility that our history is far older and stranger than we ever imagined. In the end, the Nampa figurine challenges us to question, to explore, and to wonder. Perhaps the past is not as fixed as we think. Perhaps some secrets are waiting silently beneath the layers of time for someone daring enough to uncover them. The secrets beneath the craters of the moon. There's a place in Idaho where the earth looks like it's been scorched by something not of this world. A place where time feels frozen and silence echoes louder than sound itself. Craters of the moon. If you stand there long enough under that vast black sky, you start to feel like you're being watched. Not by animals, not by people, but by something old. Something that remembers what happened here long before humans ever set foot on this land. When early settlers stumbled upon this region, they believed they had reached the aftermath of the world's end. Black lava stretched for miles, caves and fissures twisted deep underground. The air shimmered with heat, even in silence. It wasn't just the landscape, it was the energy. The unsettling stillness, the feeling that beneath their boots, something was alive, waiting. Native tribes who lived near these plains refused to travel across them. The Shoshone called it the land of the burnt earth. They said it was the domain of fire spirits who punished those who disturbed the balance of nature. To them, the lava wasn't just stone. It was the skin of the earth, burned and scarred from something ancient. But legends are one thing. What came later made the place truly infamous. In the early 1900s, geologists came to study the lava formations. They mapped out strange caves, unusual vents, and tunnels that went deeper than anyone expected. But when they returned with teams and equipment, they noticed something odd. Their instruments stopped working inside certain tunnels. Compasses spun wildly. Lanterns dimmed even when the oil was fresh. And in the silence of the caves, they could hear faint metallic echoes, like footsteps following them. At first, it was blamed on magnetic rocks. But one explorer, Henry Brockman, wrote something disturbing in his 1912 journal. "We found a hollow chamber unlike any we've seen. Smooth walls, not carved by nature. There were marks, like symbols. And the air, too clean, too still. When I touched the rock, it hummed, as if alive. We left in haste. One man swore he heard a voice, like a whisper from the stone itself." The journal was never published. Brockman went missing 2 weeks later. His campsite was found empty near a collapsed lava tube. No footprints, no remains, just his notebook, open to the last page. It simply read, "They are not gone. They're beneath us." Modern science says the craters of the moon formed during 8 major volcanic eruptions over thousands of years. But there's a theory, one dismissed by most, that the eruptions weren't entirely natural. Satellite scans have revealed hollow pockets beneath the lava field, some vast enough to fit entire buildings. The temperature readings are inconsistent, with strange heat spikes detected miles underground. And deep seismic sensors sometimes pick up rhythmic tremors, not random, but patterned, almost like machinery. Could it be natural movement of the Earth? Maybe, but the patterns repeat, always the same intervals, something mechanical or deliberate. In 1972, NASA chose craters of the moon as a training site for Apollo astronauts. They said the terrain resembled the moon's surface, but locals claim that NASA's interest went beyond training. Old workers who maintained equipment there reported hearing strange noises over the radio, low-frequency sounds that didn't come from any known source. One operator remembered a transmission, just static, and then a deep, drawn-out tone, like a signal. It lasted 17 seconds before cutting off. When NASA analyzed it, the report was classified immediately. That same year, an anonymous letter was sent to a local newspaper in Boise. It read, "They found something under the lava, a chamber not made by hands. They sealed it, but the humming hasn't stopped." The letter was dismissed as a hoax, but for decades afterward, people who hiked near the lava tubes have reported the same unsettling experience, a faint, low hum coming from beneath the ground. In 1999, a small research group called the Northwest Geophysical Society conducted a private survey. Their lead scientist, Dr. Eleanor Keene, claimed they discovered electromagnetic interference coming from an isolated zone roughly 200 feet below the surface. She described it as a standing frequency that couldn't be explained by geology. When asked what it might be, she said something strange. It's like the Earth is trying to speak, but in a language we don't understand. Her report was later retracted. She resigned, moved out of Idaho, and disappeared from the public eye. Her colleagues refused to comment. There's another story, one whispered among park rangers. During the summer of 2005, 2 campers went missing near the Tree Molds Trail. Their tent was found collapsed, and all their gear scattered. The only thing left behind was a handheld camera. The footage, never released publicly, was reportedly analyzed by authorities. According to a retired ranger who spoke anonymously, the video showed one of the men climbing down into a fissure, laughing and calling out about a hidden tunnel. Then the camera shakes violently. There's a brief flash of light from below, followed by a sound, deep and metallic. After that, silence. When the search team went to the spot, the fissure was gone. A fresh layer of rock had sealed it overnight. Today, Craters of the Moon is a national monument. Thousands of tourists visit every year. They walk across the blackened terrain, take pictures, marvel at the harsh beauty of it all. But few know about the restricted zones, areas where even researchers aren't allowed to dig or enter. Officially, they're called preservation areas. Unofficially, they're the same coordinates where the early seismic anomalies were found. Some satellite images show faint grid-like patterns beneath those spots, lines too precise to be natural, almost like the outline of structures buried under centuries of lava. One night, a hiker named Jonathan McCrae decided to test one of those theories. He took ground-penetrating radar equipment, borrowed from his university, and camped out near Devil's Orchard. At 2:17 a.m., he recorded something extraordinary. A solid void, 100 feet below, rectangular, with near-perfect symmetry. He also captured a low-frequency vibration. But then, the recording cut off abruptly. His camera froze mid-frame. When searchers found his equipment days later, the radar showed corrupted data. Just one word remained in the metadata log, auto-generated by the system's AI filter: echo. McCrae never spoke publicly about what happened. He withdrew from his program and vanished from social media entirely. What if Craters of the Moon isn't just a geological wonder? What if it's a scar left behind by something that landed here or emerged from beneath? Ancient tribes spoke of the stars that fell and burned the world. Could those stars have been something else? There's a controversial theory that the lava field hides remnants of an ancient impact site, not from a meteor, but from something constructed. A ship, a vessel, or worse, something that burrowed deep into the earth and stayed there. When you look at night photos of Craters of the Moon, something becomes clear. The symmetry. Perfect rings. Almost deliberate. The same geometric ratios found in ancient architecture worldwide. Pyramids, temples, even stone circles. Coincidence? Maybe. But coincidences shouldn't hum beneath your feet. Visitors still report that eerie vibration under certain parts of the park. Phones glitch. Audio recorders pick up strange clicks and whispers. And some claim that when they play the recordings backward, they hear patterns, like coded speech. A language that feels almost human, but not quite. So what lies beneath Craters of the Moon? A forgotten civilization? A natural wonder still whispering through the earth? Or something far older, still awake under the crust, waiting for the right moment to surface again? One ranger put it best when interviewed off-record. You think the lava cooled millions of years ago? Maybe on the surface, but underground, underneath that black rock, maybe that's why the air feels heavy when you stand there. Why even the wind stops moving. Because deep below Idaho's scarred land, something ancient might still be alive. pulsing quietly beneath the craters of the moon. The Shoshone Ice Caves, Idaho's frozen secret beneath the desert. In the middle of Idaho's arid desert plains, there lies something that shouldn't exist. A place where ice refuses to melt, even when temperatures soar above 100 degrees. Locals call it the Shoshone Ice Caves, and though thousands visit every year, few truly understand what's hiding beneath the surface. This is not just another tourist stop. It's a geological paradox, a frozen world buried beneath ancient lava flows, holding secrets from the past that science still struggles to fully explain. So how does a cave filled with solid ice exist in one of the driest, hottest parts of Idaho? That's what we're here to uncover. So, long before Idaho had highways or tourists, this strange frozen cavern was known only to Native American tribes who roamed the Snake River Plain. They spoke of a cold spirit that lived beneath the rocks, a place where the breath of winter never died. Hunters who passed too close said they felt chills crawl across their skin, even in the middle of summer. For centuries, no one dared to enter. Then came the 1800s, the age of pioneers and explorers. When settlers moved through southern Idaho, they stumbled upon the cave by accident. A rancher's horse fell through a thin patch of lava crust, and beneath, they discovered the icy cavern glowing faintly in the dark. It was as if they had broken into another world. Inside, the air was freezing, sharp, and heavy with mist. Walls of solid ice shimmered under the light of torches. And when they looked closer, they found ancient bones, the remains of animals long extinct in this region. Some said they even found carved symbols on the walls, though those were never officially documented. The cave quickly became a mystery whispered about across Idaho. How could such a place exist in this heat? How was the ice replenished year after year, never melting away completely? When scientists finally came to study the ice caves, they found something extraordinary. The cave wasn't a simple chamber. It was a lava tube, created nearly 15,000 years ago by molten rivers of basalt that cooled and hardened over time. As the lava drained out, it left behind a hollow tunnel, a natural corridor stretching beneath the desert. What made this one special was its ventilation system. The way the entrances and air shafts formed caused cold air to sink and circulate deep inside, while warmer air from outside was trapped above. Essentially, the Earth itself had built a natural refrigerator. But here's where things get even stranger. Every few years, when researchers measured the temperature of the cave, they noticed subtle fluctuations, changes too precise to be random. Some believe these shifts could be connected to underground water channels or geothermal vents interacting far below. Others have proposed something even more fascinating, that the cave's structure amplifies a natural resonance, creating a microclimate unlike anywhere else on Earth. The Shoshone Ice Caves soon became a popular curiosity. By the mid-1900s, locals had built wooden stairways and viewing decks to guide visitors through the eerie tunnels. Tourists entered expecting a quick trip, and instead, many came out speechless. Imagine walking into the desert heat, your skin burning under the sun, and then descending a few feet below the earth to find yourself surrounded by glittering walls of ice. Every step echoes. Your breath turns white in the air, and somewhere, deep inside, a faint dripping sound reminds you that the cave is alive, shifting, freezing, and melting in slow cycles. People started saying that the cave breathes. And they weren't wrong, because when the winds change across the Snake River Plain, air rushes through the natural vents, creating haunting moans and whispers that echo through the tunnels. At night, It sounds almost like the cave is sighing. Some locals claim to have heard voices, distant, muffled, as if someone were speaking from within the ice itself. A few even say they've seen shadows moving through the frost, though no one's ever found proof. But there's another layer to this mystery. In the 1960s, when part of the cave was restored for tourism, workers found something unexpected buried deep within the ice. Fragments of ancient wood, perfectly preserved. Carbon dating showed they were thousands of years old, possibly from trees that grew before the last ice age ended. This discovery suggested that the cave had been freezing and refreezing for millennia, acting as a natural time capsule. Even today, the ice caves hold traces of prehistoric air bubbles trapped within the ice layers. When researchers melt samples for analysis, they're literally breathing air that's thousands of years old. In a way, the cave preserves Earth's memory, frozen whispers from a forgotten era. Still, not everything can be explained. Satellite scans in recent years revealed unusual magnetic readings near the cave's deeper chambers. Nothing dangerous, just odd, almost as if there are hollow sections beneath the known tunnels. Some geologists believe there may be unexplored extensions stretching farther than anyone has mapped, possibly connecting to other lava tubes hidden under the desert. Local legends, however, go further. They claim the caves once connected to sacred grounds of the Shoshone people, and that deep below, there's a sealed passage leading to a second chamber of eternal cold. No one's ever proven that, but the idea alone has fueled decades of curiosity and ghost stories. And people, warning, when temperatures outside drop below freezing, the cave grows silent. But in summer, as the desert bakes, the air inside becomes restless. The ice melts slightly, refreezes, and cracks. People, tour guides say they can hear it, a faint rumble that travels through the walls like thunder from within. And sometimes, during those nights, strange green lights have been seen flickering near the entrance, possibly reflections from cars passing miles away, or maybe something else entirely. People, what makes the Shoshone ice caves so fascinating isn't just the ice or the science behind it. It's the feeling you get standing inside them, that sense of stepping through time, touching something ancient and untamed. You can feel the stillness, the breath of the earth itself. And for a brief moment, you realize this isn't just a cave. It's a living monument to the forces that shaped our planet. Thousands of years ago, molten lava carved this tunnel. Then nature, through perfect balance and mystery, turned fire into ice. It's a paradox that still stands, glowing quietly beneath Idaho's desert. And even now, as you walk back toward the sunlight, one question remains. What else lies hidden beneath the ground, still waiting to be found? So, which one left you questioning reality the most? The ice cave that never melts? The figurine that shouldn't exist? Or the craters that whisper like something still lives beneath them? Tell me in the comments below. I read every one. If you love uncovering forgotten places and ancient mysteries like these, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with someone who loves the unexplained. Because this world is full of secrets, and together, we're just getting started.